screen is really meant to present things that are most relevant to the driver in a safe way, right? So you see a lot of nice and airy or sparse implementation of the interface. And you have here recent things like phone calls, places you might want to navigate, gas station, local gas station because it may know your fuel level, weather, things like this, right? And then at the top are obviously the most relevant cards to the driver, so media and perhaps navigation and distance to get home, right? Up here you have the microphone and the ability to talk to Google, ask questions, whether it's navigation or trivia questions, whatever you might want to show. And then down here you see the activity bar, right? And the activity bar is similar to what you see in Android Auto Projected, which has navigation, a dialer for phone calls, home screen, music and audio applications, and then some system applications. And then the extra special thing here that we want to demonstrate is, if you pull this up, we have the HVAC, right? So heating, air conditioning, things like that. And while maybe not revolutionary as a driver, you've had air conditioning in cars before, the point here is that we're providing automakers an easy interface for integrating Android in their car to interact with the critical systems that they want in infotainment, right? So the ability, for instance, to control the fan or turn on your seat vibrators.
Nice.
And then obviously other functions here as well. And that's really one of the critical parts. So in Android N, which is what's running here, we're introducing the first wave of this, which includes the ability for a sort of vehicle interface for automakers to implement and make it easier for them to do that. So then if we jump over to media, so we have a range of media apps. So in this case, we got Spotify, Google Play Music, obviously Bluetooth audio that will be playing perhaps off of a phone, and then we can let's see if we already have it running. So if we want to play some media, tap it, our play button. So we have a podcast playing, right? It's a standard podcast application, right? So if we switch over to something like Google Maps, you can see that the apps on the top, the cards on the top change, because now we want to see the relevant information to the driver who's maybe looking at the maps, and you see the media app and again the way home.
So is that like recent apps up at the top or currently running apps?
Yeah, so it depends on what you might want to do with it. At the moment what we're doing is, if you think about a driver and their primary use case is driving, the most important thing for them is I've got navigation here and I've got my media are probably the things that they care most about, right? If we are navigating somewhere, we'll see later maybe this might show upcoming turns and things like that.
Okay, right? So it seems like you've just got like the horizontal Android Auto UI like in a box, and then you're putting stuff above and below that on the wider screen, or?
Do you mean the projected UI? Obviously we have borrowed heavily from that concept in terms of a user interface.
Right.
Yeah. So
the phone's not hooked up to this, right?
So let me show you. So one of the things we'll show you here is phone calls, right? So again, as a driver, you have Bluetooth in your car probably already.
Right.
From an automaker perspective, who is integrating this in their infotainment system, the phone implementation of Android is a Bluetooth client, right? It connects to a Bluetooth host. What we're including in Android, in sort of the car implementation, is a full Bluetooth stack for automotive, right? So the ability, for instance, for the automaker to implement a full stack, so that from here it's pulling using PBAP, Bluetooth profile, to pull the list of recent calls. You can make phone calls via your phone, just like you can in your car, but again, this is part of Android and built in. So it'll make a phone call, it's getting the photo from your contact on your phone.
So here we are not mirroring something from the phone.
Not mirroring.
Here we have a kind of operating system in the car.
Yep.
connected with the smartphone through Bluetooth.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And there's no projection going on. This is just the same kind of Bluetooth connection you might have in any other car.
Usual car.
Yeah.
So how do you get apps on this then? If it's not pulling apps from your phone?
So we're at the moment we haven't gotten to talking about our Google services strategy, which would include Play Store and Maps and things like this. Again, we're focused right now on the operating system. We are showing obviously something like Google Maps, which is a Google service that runs on top of Android. But that's, even automakers don't necessarily and might not take Google Maps, for instance, as their implementation.
But they have the option to.
What's that? We hope that at some point they will, but we're not.
Okay.
We haven't gone through all the Google services. We're focused right now on the operating system features.
Is it open source?
It's the same Android operating system as you might get today. So you can go download AOSP, and that includes some functionality for televisions, includes some functionality for Wear. There is, starting at N, there will be some automotive features in AOSP.
Okay. Cool.
And that's really what we're talking about. So things like the Bluetooth stack, things like the vehicle network service and interaction with that.
So in the future, it may happen that you will release a Play Store also for this kind of distribution.
It's something that we would consider.
No Nexus car.
I think that would be it. Yeah.
So
no time that I can imagine in the near future. Right?
Do you recommend this screen shape, or do you support other screen shapes?
We support a variety of screen shapes. We're trying to support the auto industry in terms of where they're going. Right. We think some of them will have large screens. Many of them will be showing things in their cluster like this, but we'll see a variety. Many
Okay, so there's some kind of smaller screen interface then for people that don't have a television in their dashboard.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, this is our implementation of an interface. So an OEM might come up with their own interface based off this, and it's heavily customized. Not even skin it, but redo it and build their own.
Okay.
So just a couple more things. Let me show you maps so we can make sure we get other people in here. So we have a full Google Maps implementation, right? You have obviously things like recent places. We've got satellite view. And then
Connectivity is through the car or through the phone?
at the moment, we're plugged in with an Ethernet cable. But if depending on if you were
who's paying the bill of the connectivity?
probably, I'm sure Google here. But depending again, this is up to the automaker. The automaker wants it to be connected. So we also obviously we have the VR button, the voice button, so we can say navigate to the San Francisco airport. So it obviously ducks, so we have audio routing all built in to allows the OEM to manage all of that. And then we have this, navigation. You'll see up on the information cluster that things have now changed, right? So now we're showing relevant information here. If I were to change the track, so we're listening to a podcast right now, by the way.
Make a U-turn.
So let's see, we change the track. I'm just skipping forward. I need to go to some music so I can play that for you. So you can see up here that when it plays that, it does an overlay to change it.
All right.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
What's the level of integration of the engine systems, like fuel, that kind of thing?
So this is the interface that's provided that allows the OEM, the automaker, to implement with the vehicle network. It's up to them how they integrate it. Really, this is for infotainment, right? So you probably wouldn't have any engine features in here. Now you do have things like you might have, if they wanted it, what the gas level is, which would require access to the fuel level. The reality is that when it comes to, Android itself is an extremely secure operating system. It's been around for 10 years. It's built on SE Linux. The way that vehicle architectures work, there's typically hardware components in the middle that implement that sort of level of security.
I haven't seen a notification yet. Or did they just stack up there? Did they pop in somehow?
Which notifications?
Text, turn directions.
Yeah, so we're doing turn directions right now through here.
And you're driving that too, obviously, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see up here. But again, this is a concept implementation, so it might look different.
Okay. How fast does it turn on?
What's that?
How fast does it turn
So
on
this
when
turns
the car is on?
This turns on pretty quickly, but this isn't integrated in the car where you would drive it around necessarily.
Okay.
So, but that is obviously a consideration in terms of boot times, right? So
Right.
something for us that we'll be looking at. So, okay.
Would this coexist with the projection technology, or do you see this replacing?
I think we view it, projection technology will be around for a while, right? Especially when you think about other operating systems and whatnot that want to be in the vehicle.
So, I mean, even if it's running Android in the head unit, you could plug in your phone and use the projection technology instead of the UI.
Yeah.
I like that there's still a battery icon for.
It's your car battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.